right, ever since Barack Obama arrived on the national political stage, this program has shined the spotlight on his connections to controversial figures like Jeremiah Wright and Bill Ayers. And now a new book delves even deeper into the president's radical associations. It's called The Manchurian President, Barack Obama's Ties to Communists, Socialists, and Other Anti-American Extremists. The author, Aaron Klein, he hosts a radio show and often writes for WorldNet Daily. He joins us now. Aaron, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, even the title, it's going to make liberals' head explode. And what we just explain what you mean, the Manchurian Candidate, and the title of the book.
I know it's a very sensational title. The book, though, is extremely well documented. We're talking about almost 900 footnotes. And by Manchurian, what we mean, we don't believe, me and my co-author, Brenda J. Elliott, we don't believe that Obama is a sleeper agent for communism, which is what the original book was about. But we document thoroughly, it's not our opinion, it's fact, that Obama is tied to an anti-American fringe nexus that was instrumental in building his political career from the beginning all the way through now with the White House. We expose extremists currently in the White House and also outside, helping to draft different legislation that's affecting everyday American lives.
Look, I've chronicled the appointment of these czars, Kevin Jennings and Van Jones and Holdren and Anita Dunn. I mean, one person after another. I mean, the list goes on and on. Very extreme. Most Americans don't understand this, and I've chronicled. Go back to the Ayers connection, for example, because I always felt just the guy in the neighborhood was total baloney. And yet he got away with that throughout the entire campaign.
He did, and actually, Ayers is key. We can go back beginning to Obama's childhood when we found out, it's actually exclusive to the book, that he went to a certain Sunday school that was affiliated with the ideology of Bill Ayers. It was in Hawaii, where deserters from the Students for a Democratic Society from Bill Ayers' organization used to hole up in this church. But okay, so you can't hold him responsible for that. And then we find out where he first met Bill Ayers, which was in 1988, right. Actually. And very interestingly, in Obama's book, in Dreams from My Father, he talks about where he first got his first job at what was called the ABC Coalition. And he says that he was hired by a guy named Marty Kaufman. Well, Kaufman doesn't exist. It's Kelman. He's a Marxist Alinskyite. And so the thing with Ayers is that it's just the beginning of a radical nexus.
And you even talk about his connection to the Nation of Islam. Does he have a relationship with Louis Farrakhan?
We know certainly that he attended Louis Farrakhan's Million Man March, and we know as well that Obama for 20-something years went to the Trinity United Church of Christ, where Farrakhan gave guest lectures, and we went through actually the church correspondence where the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, was listed many times. Actually, Obama was on the cover.
They were on the front cover together.
On the front cover, but it goes on, and the Nation of Islam actually was in part on Obama's payroll in Chicago in the early days. And David Axelrod, by the way, he's tied to the Nation of Islam. I know everybody believes he's a Jew, and he's Jewish, but he's on the board of St. Sabina's, which is in Chicago. That was where you and I were reporting during the campaign of Michael Fleger, the guy who said that Hillary cries because she's white. So the bottom line is that there's this extreme nexus that is currently drafting White House policies. It's not just when Obama was a child. It's not just when Obama was being politically mentored in college. And we actually uncover a lot of his college years in the book. But it's here, it's now. And Americans need to understand who's drafting this key legislation and what's behind them.
Because you go into detail that these radicals actually drafted the stimulus bill, which we talk about in some detail. Look, we're only touching the surface here. Yeah. So I guess in a broader sense, people are going to have to read the book to get the specifics. But one last important question. How radical is he? In other words, all your research, what you've come to conclude about Barack Obama, is he far more radical than even people like me and others that were on this case day in and day out you ever imagine? Absolutely, and here's what we need to be concerned about. It's about Alinsky ideology. It's boring from within in order to bring down the U.S. capitalist system. And we uncover in the book Obama's extensive ties to Alinsky, including during the campaign, by the way, where his first trainers were trained by those from the Midwest Academy, which is an Alinskyite academy. So we have to worry about boring from within to bring down the U.S. system and a capitalist system, and I believe that is Obama's ideology. All right, Aaron Klein, your column's often on WorldNet Daily. The book is on WorldNet Daily and now in bookstores everywhere. Everywhere, Amazon.com as well. All right, the Manchurian President, and thanks for being with us.